Howdy, folks. Recording a best ball draft here. We're doing a puppy again. Getting close to halfway through all my puppy drafts. It's actually going to be the first time I've ever maxed a 150 contest on Underdog. The only contest I've ever maxed with 150 was DraftKings main event a couple years ago, which I did make it to the finals in. So kind of fun and cool. At the 102 here, might look at starting with a wide receiver. Could grab Saquon. Kind of see what's presented to us here. I have gotten Chase at the 102 a couple times. Got him at the 103 once. I just did a Jefferson team, so go ahead and do Saquon. I've kind of starting to get enough Lamb where I should probably back off slightly. So I did actually record a video earlier as my second puppy draft, but I forgot to hook up my microphone, so the sound was horrendous. The old Yeti definitely makes a big difference. So not too much to talk about strategy-wise at the moment. Starting to get pretty excited again for Malik Neighbors. Looking at what he did last year on the Giants is absurd. So he dealt with those injuries, right? The concussion there that knocked him out of game, and then I believe he missed a week after that. The Giants threw for 15 touchdowns last year as a team. 15! I know I'm not that excited about Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart either, but man, he could easily get 25, even with those guys. And then what is the ceiling for Malik Neighbors? It feels pretty obscene. And he was able to do so much with so little last year. So, probably be looking to grab a couple wide receivers at the turn here. And then see if maybe one of Cook or Hampton falls back to us. Hampton seems to be falling a bit. I think there was a little bit of, not news, I would say, but speculation that, Najee is probably going to end up being the RB1 at OTAs, and then Hampton will fall a bit in ADP because people will overreact to that. I don't give a crap who's leading the way at OTAs, but with it being Harbaugh and stuff, I would not be that surprised. So probably going to look at adding a couple wide receivers. I'm always in the Garrett Wilson. Interested in Garrett Wilson at this end of the board. Jets are a little rough to stack because there's two pass catchers that I have or any real interest in. Could look at Trey McBride as well, but I think on this end of the board, if I was going to do an elite tight end, I'd rather push it and do the one the next round. Well, let's take Garrett Wilson, then we'll see what this person does. They'll probably just take Trey McBride. Yeah. Then we can kind of decide what to do for our second wide receiver. I'd rather take Kittle than McBride on this specific team. I have a whole bunch of JSN with Garrett Wilson's, so I think I'm just going to take McLaurin this time. Plus, McLaurin is in the division with the Eagles, so maybe some chance you could get a little bonus chance to get a Week 17 matchup there, but at the same time, not really sure I want players playing against the Eagles. That might be the one defense to try to avoid the most. So it could be you could get what you want and not end up liking it very much. But really more just making that pick because I've been taking a bunch of JSN with Garrett Wilson, so I just want to like mix in somebody different there. Some point I'll probably be pulling Rasheed up to that spot, but I'm hoping not to do it too soon just because I've been getting a ton of Rasheed later on. I do like pulling up some of these like later wide receivers to this 1-2 turn. Like I don't mind Rasheed, Evans, Adams. Guess DJ Moore, but he kind of started up there, so it like defeats the purpose a little bit because there already are teams that have him up there from when he was just getting drafted up there. Highly doubtful we get Jaden Daniels back. Just actually did a Jaden Daniels team, but I'd be down to do another if he falls to us. I would expect that doesn't happen, but I have gotten him this late in this round before. So looking at the board here, I did one of these Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter teams my last draft. I didn't love it. Didn't love it. It's just a little tough for that to pay off, I think. There'd have to be like leaps and bounds from the Jaguars. Plus, I didn't even get Trevor Lawrence because it's kind of hard to get him at this end of the board. I'd almost rather take like Brian Thomas, maybe like 9 a couple times or whatever, or 10, and then see if you can wrap Travis Hunter around. And then at least like you have a little bit, you're picking a little bit earlier in this round here where Trevor Lawrence goes. So you get like at least a couple extra spots less that you have to have him fall. Got a true 0 RB'er rocking here. So we did not get Jaden Daniels. Not a big deal there. I am interested in the top 3 players on the board. Definitely interested in Devonta Smith because we could go for like a Smith Barkley Hurts thing. Also pretty interested in Marion Hampton. He is really starting to fall in these rooms, so that's interesting. Okay, I don't want Hurts now that I don't have Smith. I would like to get Jameson Williams, but I'm going to take this fall on a Marion Hampton. He's finally like scooting down to a price where I'm pretty into taking him, and I have like very little of him from when he was expensive. So I'm down to take like one of Jameson Williams or Cortland Sutton or Calvin Ridley. If we get JMO, there's some chance Laporta could fall to us at the end of the next round. Though that doesn't happen a ton. I am just going to go ahead and take Jameson Williams. Pretty happy with that. So we have Fields as an option. Daniels is out. Hurts I don't really care to have with Barkley anyway, unless I had gotten Devonta Smith. Then I would have been interested in having Hurts, Devonta Smith, and Barkley. So what's our next pick? 71. I don't think Laporta falling to us is like he's 67, so it does happen some. So we can think about that if he makes his way down there. Probably going to have to take Fields with 95 or 98, assuming he's left on the board for us. It's one of those picks if we want Fields. This guy went T. Higgins and Chase Brown and then cut off Burrow on the way back. I don't hate that. This guy going naked Hurts. I mean, Hurts can definitely pay off naked. I think if I had Trey McBride, I'd probably just not take Hurts here and try to get Kyler a little bit later. 0 RB guy adds Ken Walker. I like that pickup for him. We had this guy pull up Lamar and then do Zay Flowers. I really don't like Lamar or Derrick Henry very much. It's just like kind of expensive to try to get both of them to pay off. But like you could kind of bounce between the two in the playoff weeks, but I don't know. I don't have a very high interest in that myself. This lad Marvin Harrison team in the middle is a little short on wide receivers, so interested to see how his team turns out. This guy's going pure zero RB with Nico Bowers, Hunter Evans, Olave Addison. Interested to see how his team works out. Like I said the last video, like I find pure zero RB really difficult this year. So like he has Bowers, so at least he's not going to be like hunting for a tight end in that area. We'll see. Maybe Stroud goes kind of after those zero RB targets, so that's good for him. Like T-Law goes after. Baker goes kind of before those, or I guess this is the start of them, the start of like those really good zero RB targets. So Baker does kind of interfere with them a little bit. So kind of interested to see what he does if he takes Baker, if he just like takes a couple of running backs here, how he goes about trying to build that. Gonna take Laporta or maybe Quinshon Judkins here. Don't like having 3 running backs this early. That definitely sucked pretty badly. I think I'll just take Matthew Golden here because he's the wide receiver I want the most. Plus opens up Love and Love and Kraft you can often get together on this side of the board. So like you can usually get Lovecraft down here at 120s. So that opens up something nice for us there. I am going to take a running back here, I think, because I don't really care if I get Jaden Reed or not. I'll just go ahead and take Quinshon Judkins. That's cool. Getting a fall from some of these rookie running backs in this room, which is nice. Like I said, I have very little Marion Hampton, so like I was super pleased to see him start falling to the end of round 4. That's kind of like more in line with like where he starts competing with wide receivers, where I'm actually like kind of jazzed to take him over him. Like I don't mind Amarian Hampton over Devonta Smith or Jameson Williams and those guys, but I don't really want to be taking him over like Rashee Rice and Worthy and DJ Moore and Mike Evans. Like it's a little harder click for me over those wide receivers, but now that he's sliding back, maybe I'll start to load up on some Marion Hampton. Interesting with this start, having 3 of running backs as strong as we do, we could definitely do only 5 running backs if we want to. Like I just think a lot of the best picks are running back, so I try to avoid doing that unless like I need the help in my build. But we could maybe push a running back over to wide receiver or tight end. I don't super envision us needing the help at quarterback because I'm gonna at least make some attempt to end up with Fields and Jordan Love, but obviously those plans could be pooped on by the room. So definitely don't need a running back coming back this way. So I'm going to be kind of looking at Downs, Higgins, Trey Harris. I'm not a big Michael Pittman guy, but I think he's like not bad in that range. I only want Michael Pittman when I've taken like some of the early rookie wide receivers plus guys like Jameson Williams that kind of spike or poop. Then like I don't mind having a steady Eddie type of Michael Pittman, but for the most part, I try to avoid him. So if we do get dusted on Justin Fields, what we could do here is maybe. Did Bo Nix go already? I guess we have Goff as an option. Very strange to see Baker available this late. It's definitely been kind of a weird room. We just have nothing going on with Baker or Caleb. The guy behind us took Hurts, but kind of hurt himself now because he probably doesn't want to take Kyler Murray. Yet Kyler Murray would be a really good pick for him. I wonder if this guy got a stack piece with Baker. He did not. So I'm just going to go ahead and take Justin Fields because I don't really care a super ton about what wide receiver I end up with. I'm not really looking to take tight end at this specific pick. I'll take whatever. One of Jaden Higgins or Trey Harris. I don't mind Josh Downs either, but trying to get some more Jaden Higgins, so let's go with him. So kind of hoping that Love and Kraft are there at the next turn. If not, I would at least like to get Jordan Love, but we'll see. We could also start to build out something with. So if Jordan Love doesn't go, Stroud will be there almost for sure. So we could build out something going on with Stroud too. Maybe do Stroud and Christian Kirk could be there, or we could get the other rookie a little bit later. Jalen Noel. Yeah, that's that guy's name. Some chance we could do May Kyle Williams if we want to do that. That should be available down here. Team in the one hole looks all right. Don't like this unstacked Baker pick, even though it was a good ADP value. Interesting start from this guy. Started with 3 straight RBs, then DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Debo, Khalil Shakir, Egbuka. And he's got Caleb with DJ Moore. He should be able to maybe get the tight end there, Loveland. Kyler guy ended up taking Kyler Marv guy, so he only ended up having 3 wide receivers now through 9 rounds. That's pretty rough. Team's probably in trouble. This guy started off 4 straight, but then that's just hammering on wide receivers. Yeah, this guy hit running back real hard in his 0 wide receiver build, his 0 running back build. I like that. This team seems to be shaping up. We'll see what he ends up with at quarterback. So do I want to try and do Drake May and Kyle Williams, or do I want to try to do this Jordan Love thing? Let's take Jordan Love first because I already have Matthew Golden. So if we miss Kraft, it's not that big a deal. Could just end up taking Njoku or whatever. Maybe done at quarterback with Fields and Love. I think that's enough upside there. Might look to do a 3 tight end build and take Mason Taylor later on. He's down at the 180s, and then maybe like just some random other person with him, like a Cade Otten or Cade Rotten, as I call him, or Jawan. But we'll see what values pop up at tight end. I'm not going to turn away like a falling Ferguson or something. Cowboys Ferguson, not Rams Ferguson. So we are all done at quarterback. We don't need to look at that anymore. Should probably take a few, like Stefon Diggs in the spot here where I took Matthew Golden. That way I could set up like down on the side of the board going with like Diggs and then being able to do the same thing I did down here with Lovecraft, except getting May and Kyle Williams over here. My one issue with that is like Kyle Williams is like vastly more expensive than I think he should be. Like, I don't see much, if any, difference between Kyle Williams and Pat Bryant. And you get Pat Bryant like infinitely cheaper. But at the same time, like how little, like I basically don't take Kyle Williams. Like I have taken him specifically with Drake May. So like maybe I do want to set up a couple like digs somewhere in this range, you know. That way I can double dip and get a pretty decent sized Patriots stack, which would probably also mean it'd be all right to pull up Travion Henderson too. So I like Travion Henderson in that stack grouping. So maybe pull up Travion Henderson to like 50, Diggs to like one of these picks, and get Kyle Williams. I'll think about that next time I am picking at this end of the board. So I have not been taking as much Drake May lately as I started off taking a whole bunch of Drake May because Kyle Williams was like pretty cheap for a while. So I was always like, ooh, I can, I was taking a bunch of Henderson. So I was like, oh, I can get Henderson, I can get Drake May, I can take Kyle Williams, and then can decide if I want to do Hunter Henry or not, depending on what sort of room I'm looking like for tight end. But like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, so if like Ferguson falls to me, I'm not gonna attempt to do this Mason Taylor thing. So I'll just stop at two tight ends. So I like Ferguson quite a bit more than the tight ends after him. Oh, that sucked. That was like his third tight end too. That's brutal. So do I take my boy Trey Benson? Yeah. I'm gonna take Benson because he has like the higher upside. I like to take Spears over Benson if I'm like kind of weak at running back and I'm like, I need to just find a guy who can get like points early. But somebody took Tillman already. Yeah. That was an early go for Tillman. Do I really like want Dallas Goedert or one of these guys? I don't know. I'm just gonna take Tyjae Spears. Seems like the best pick on the board by such a large margin. The fact that I don't really need a running back is whatever. So we might call it a day at running back here, having these five. Throw two picks at tight end and also have 8 wide receivers. I don't think I've drafted that exact roster construction yet in this tournament, but that's cool. Like you want to have a few different types of roster constructions, in your build. You don't want to have them all be the same. Like I've drafted a bunch of 2-6-8-2. I've drafted a bunch of 2-7-7-2. I've drafted a bunch of 2-6-7-3. I've drafted a little bit of 3-6-7-2. So this will be my first 5 running back build in this format. Which kind of begs the question of like, what position do I want to leave for the very last round? I think it might be leave a spot for Savion Williams, but we'll see. This team could use like a boring Thielen like player. We have a whole lot of spiky type wide receivers and not a whole bunch of consistency. I'd assume Brenton Strange will go for my pick. There we go. Just kind of hoping that Mason Taylor makes it to me. If he goes, it's not that big a deal. I'll just take Freiermuth or Cade Otton or Hunter Henry, whatever. But I'd like to get the guy who stacks with Fields. Kind of a cool running back room. Getting the falls on both Benson and Tyjae Spears to go along with our three big dogs at the top. Thielen does go. The next two guys have 3 tight ends each, so in theory, we should be pretty safe to get Mason Taylor here. Let's do this. Oh, we'll take Spike Week Maven Alec Pierce here. Could take another Jets wide receiver at some point, but that does not interest me a ton. Savion Williams for Green Bay does interest me a tiny bit, so we'll see. It's been just like a lot of running backs drafted in this draft in general. So, I mean, a lot of running backs. A lot of tight ends drafted in this draft, like with multiple teams having 3 kind of earlier tight ends. This guy drafted Andrews, Gesicki, and Kyle Pitts. That doesn't really seem necessary. Then we had Loveland, Goddard, and Hunter Henry. Ferguson, Ingram, and Sam Laporta. Like, what are these people doing? I think drafting 3 tight ends is fine, but you just like don't want to spend like a crap load of draft capital on them. We took Mason Taylor a bit early here because I wasn't sure he was going to make it to 191, and I wanted to get the stack piece. But, we didn't take our first tight end until round 11. These guys took them in round 6 and round 9. Still decided to go 3. This guy, like, never drafting another wide receiver. I realized he drafted 5 to start, but damn. So he ended up with Hunter, Tootin, Trevor. Huh. So who are some wide receivers we have interest in? Pat Bryant went. That was one of the guys. Could take one of these boring guys like a Cooper or I was going to say Keenan Allen. Could take a shot on Dontavian Wicks. Royals. Wicks does go with Jordan Love, but I think he's kind of competing with Golden's role. A.O. Manor and Royals are some rookies I think have some upside, but Royals has like a pretty tough depth chart to deal with right now, but he's also very talented and, you know, he seems like kind of the insurance policy for Rashee Rice, so they can have a guy that kind of does the same thing but worse. If Rashee Rice keeps fucking up, getting in trouble or whatever. All right, I'll take A.O. Manor. Not super jazzed about it, but Slayton gone too, huh? Oh, even Juwan Johnson got taken in this draft. That's crazy. One of my buddies from Spike Week likes Chig Okonkwo a good bit. I don't like Chig Okonkwo that much, but hey, why not? I will trust my friend, and you know it's a little bet that goes along with A.O. Manor here on the Titans. We also have Spears for the Titans, so a little bit of stacking without the quarterback. Probably look to add one more wide receiver. Could be a rookie, could be a vet. Doesn't really matter that much. Assume Tutu Atwell went. Yeah, he went. Definitely don't want Lockett because like we've made enough bets on this Tennessee stacking without the quarterback. I'm not really interested in yet another one. Jets wide receiver wouldn't be the worst, except that they are the actual worst. Incredible how many tight ends were drafted in this draft, especially with us going a 3-2. Like I'm, 90% of the time only drafting two tight ends, but this just happened to be one draft where I felt like drafting three because I'm not too sure about Mason Taylor. And we also had the luxury of kind of wanting to stop at 5 running backs, which is not normal. Not normal for me. I'm usually a 6, if not 7 running back guy. But the specific way this draft fell, I kind of thought, Barkley, Hampton, Judkins, Benson, and Tajay was plenty good enough. I have some interest in like these guys. Don't love taking a bet on Mitchell when we have Alec Pierce, and he just went anyway. Don't mind De'Ami Brown either. Jag sounded pretty into De'Ami Brown. Obviously, it'll be a little tough for him to get targets with Hunter and BTJ there, but sounds like they want to do some design stuff for him. So right now, I'm looking at Cooper and De'Ami. Marquez Valdes-Scantling's like not the worst for like a veteran either. Neither's Naylor. So Naylor and Felton, I think, are kind of competing for a spot. Jalen Lane, I think, is competing with a spot with Noah Brown. Jordan Whittington and Tutu kind of competing for a spot. I think I'm just going to do Diami. Sweet. So we have Fields and Love, Barkley, Hampton, Judkins, Benson, and Spears. Pretty decent wide receiver group. I'll have to pull this team back up in a second because it's going to close out. So Fields and Love, plenty enough upside at quarterback. Love this running back room. Liked it so much that we could keep it to 5 and use an extra pick somewhere else. Wide receiver group, pretty strong at the top. Like this top 5. Big play guys and Pierce and Brown, and a hope for a high ceiling, but probably gonna poop on us. Alec Ayo manure. And then our tight end group, Tucker Kraft is definitely a solid, like, low end number 1 tight end. And then we've got 2 guys we hope can hit. There was some decent coach speak for Chig. Like I said, one of my buddies from the Spike Week Discord is pretty into Chig as a player for this year. So we'll give him a shot, and Mason Taylor to go with Fields. Thanks for watching, and good luck in your drafts, folks.